Hi everybody, thank you for joining me again. Not able to do any recording of Field of Screams. Oh my god, I am so tired. Because it's actually timing of 11:36 at night. So I wasn't able to actually do any live footage like I was kind of hoping, but they had a rule about it, so I couldn't do that. Doesn't mean I can't tell you about it. Okay, so first I will be going ahead and placing pictures onto my Facebook page, my Facebook and Twitter, and my Instagram. If you want to actually find them, I would probably say today or tomorrow when they post. You can definitely follow me at descriptions. It's in the description below on how you can actually get to my pages. Now there was 4 main attractions that we went to go see: the Haunted Hayride, it was called Nocturnal Wastelands, and then there was the Den of Darkness, I believe it was called, and then the Asylum. I forget the long name of it. So the first one that we actually went into was the Haunted Hayride. Last time I was on a Haunted Hayride was when I was like, what, 4, 5? So I was like petrified. Well, I wasn't really even petrified then. If I remember correctly, I was scared, but not like, oh my god, you know, that kind of thing. So I didn't know how scary it was going to be. And you'll actually see a little bit of pictures of those later on, because I'll probably do that either tomorrow or Tuesday. Today's Sunday, if you don't know. So if you're watching this in the future, depending when you're watching it, it may be already up. So check out where in the description below. Anyway, so the Haunted Hayride we went ahead and did first. It wasn't very scary to me. And I jumped at Five Nights at Freddy. Okay, I jumped with Five Nights at Freddy, Five Nights at Pinky, the jump scares, okay? Which I think it was just plainly getting startled. Because, to kind of give you a little bit of a brief description, is that there was basically different shacks, they look like barn or garages. And what it would do is they would isolate you in this of basically a general attraction. The first one actually reminded me of my friend Tori, who is vegan. Because, if you guys have seen Saw, if you've seen the movie Saw, you know that one of them, they dealt a lot with butchers and pigs, and that's what that was about, okay? But that might have been scary. Might have been. Because there was people coming around you with, like, hatchets and stuff like that. It might, that's a big possible might, have been scarier if they weren't playing the music that they were. Because the music that they were playing was Sweet Home Alabama. And the animatronic pig that was like half chopped up looked like it was twitching to the song. I couldn't stop laughing. And, you know, and I had a pig. Now, they're not real pigs, obviously. But a pig that looks slaughtered hanging right here. I remember just shouting, I'm going vegan! To make a joke with it. But then, the next one, because what it does, like I said, is that there's a door that goes down in the front and behind, your wagon that you're in. It even cuts off the, driver, so they can't see anything. But then we went to the next one. The next one, I'm trying to remember which one was next. Don't remember exactly. Because I think the next one that we had was, Oh no, the next one that they had was hillbillies. I'm like, they're not scary. They're not. I'm sorry, the hillbillies are not scary. Because they had that stereotype that you get off my land, or I'm gonna shoot you. Which, first of all, you know they're not gonna shoot you, not for real anyway. They did have, you know, basically the imitation of it, so that was one thing. And yeah, I was just like, oh, really? Come on, hillbilly. Hillbilly Hank! But I was like, okay, whatever. So then the next one, when we were going along, then there was, you went into like a waste center, kind of ordeal, which gave it part of its name. And, oh no, that was the other place. That's what it felt like it kind of did. Anyway, and it was not too terrible. You had people in like gas masks coming up and look like the typical suits and stuff. And then as you're going from each one, you do have randomly one jumping in to the wagon, scaring people and all that stuff. I couldn't stop laughing. With a good amount of it, or just jamming out. After the hillbillies, then the circus. I was like, okay, this could get some people just because of a phobia. Okay. And they literally had the whole, I was like, really? You picked that soundtrack? Okay. But, clever enough, they actually had a drop-down ceiling. I kind of saw that coming, because when you go in, you actually see it, that it's like a turbish. It looks like it could just be part of the scenery that, you know, to give you the illusion you're in a tent, but then it fell down, which I'm pretty sure that's somebody's phobia somewhere. Not mine. So the people that were coming out were, like, distorted, circus people, and I'm just like, do a handstand, you know, do the trapeze, you know, do this, do that. And needless to say, most of the time they didn't even bother us, because we're like cheering them on and everything. The next one that we had was more like an arachnophobia tent, kind of speak. That you're kind of in a garden, and because of where we were sitting, there's a giant spider behind us, and it just kept, like, hitting my arm like this, with the face. Now, my mom was scared because she doesn't like spiders at all. I don't care. That's why I said that one I think is phobia-based, just like the one that's kind of like the circus is more phobia-based, to try to eat into that kind of thing. After that, we went into this, cool circular thing. Nobody was coming out at us at this one, but it was kind of like the UV lights, with this thing that it's an illusion to make you think you're turning and everything, but you're not. And it was kind of cool because when you look out one way, it looks like just, you know, a circle piece of paper going around. I mean, it wasn't paper, but you know what I mean, going around. But you look at the other side, it looked like it was moving, but it's like, you're obviously not. Also, this shirt reacts to UV lights. You see the green? Those were glowing, and I think the yellow was glowing, I think. But it was so awesome. So when Mom was getting a little sick, I said, it's okay, just look at my shirt. Just look at my shirt. And then, we were leaving that. I'm trying to think, was there anything else important on the hayride? Not really, because we went through a waste center. There was one that an area that kind of looks swampish. I think that was kind of the waste center, I think. But overall, it was not that bad. It was actually fun, which I didn't expect. I mean, there was one more I missed. The very last one, I believe it was the last one, or second to last. It was close to last. I've been wearing these glow sticks all night. They have lost their glow because I've been wearing them all night. but I've had like 2 on my wrist, 2 around my neck. I had some on my purse, not to mention my shirt's lighting up. They take us into this shed that they close off like they did every single time. And it was supposed to be that they're coming out with chainsaws at you. And there's like dropped bodies and stuff like this. Well, it was so dark. How dark was it? It was so dark. I was like a beam of light. Okay. And it was kind of funny because I'm just like, they're trying to make it pitch black dark, but I have so much light on me. You can't. And then when they put the chainsaws against the wooden wagon, I was like, this feels good. Because I'm like, it feels like a vibrator. I was like, this feels actually kind of nice. So, yeah. So, it wasn't really that scary to me. Although, when you left the ride, you go through a tunnel. It's very short, but a little tunnel through a shed to get out. And it has that purple thing again that I was like looking, I was trying to look down and it looked like you were doing this. And then when you got to the door, it was a little shifty. But, I mean, I like the illusions for the most part. Except for the strobe, but it just messes with your psyche. As stuff keeps falling. But overall, that wasn't very bad. After we went ahead and relaxed for a bit, we went to which one did we do next? We did the, Nocturnal Wasteland. I have to think about that one. I don't know. So, when we start going in, alright, we're just like, okay, whatever. And it's so funny. Because the only one that was actually a ride was the hayride. Okay. Is there a cat up there? Or no, the cat wants to be up there. Anyway. The only one that actually had you riding was the hayride. And there's signs that say, please have your stuff with a non-rider. And I'm like, you're not riding, you're walking. Anyway. So, in the Nocturnal Wasteland, the best way I can describe it is going on a walk, going on a hike. Not really a hike, but just like a walk. They described it as a trail, kind of like a nature trail, but not so peaceful. And it had it where you would walk through kind of like it looked kind of like Civil War-ish, like in the battlefield kind of thing. And then there was a couple parts where the floor actually moved. There was some where there was one that it shook the floor like it electrocuted. And every time a person came out, I was just like, oh, hi, how you doing? The one was like, your face would do great for a meal. And I'm like, oh, can I have pepper on me? And they were like, like, that's not something you should be asking. And then there was one he had to go through a bus. Now, the bus looked like there was a lot of people on it ready to scare you. But in reality, there was only 2 people on that bus. The rest of them were mannequins. And they were so nice because my mom was having a hard time going through it because it was practically pitch black. It was very hard to see where you were going. It was very hard to actually enjoy the scenery. I think enjoy the scenery without thinking that you were going to fall or that you're going to trip on something or that kind of thing. So, it was funny because I was, out there because like 1 or 2 back, they were like, you're trespassing. And Mom's like, they invited us here. So I kind of did the same thing with the bus that I'm just like, hey. Now, they already came, scared my mom a little bit. Now, she wasn't like, ah, but it was just like, oh my God. And, it was funny because when they came to the back of the bus and then they were going forward, it's like, is it okay if we come through? We just want to get from the back to the front. Because the front's where you go down, obviously. And the one came back and was like, no, 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 you know, I'm here to help you through the bus. And she was like, oh, great. And so she did. And then on the way up, she told the other person, this is like, don't scare her. And then since I was following, I saw, she goes, hey, what's up? Like, nothing too much. And it was so cute because she saw these and she's like, oh, can I have one? I'm like, sure. So I gave her one because I was like, and I think really from that point is when anytime that they popped out, I was like, do you have a flashlight? Do you have a flashlight? And some of them would just look at me like, what the hell? And other ones are like, and I was like, are you sure? They're like, I was like, okay. Then get out of my way because I really need to go. So after a little bit, we got through it. It was funny because the one were like, which way do we go? Because it was so small spaced for this particular one. And we didn't know, is that a crevice or should we be going in there? Sorry, my nose is kind of running. And so, every now and again, the monsters will say it's that way. Like, they'll scare you that way. Like, there was one, she was like, you know, do you know the way out? But then we were like, maybe we should go this way. Then she's like, I gotta go that way. Over at the very end, I got so annoyed that you couldn't see anything as far as walking. I was just like, screw it. I put my phone on and with the rest of the way, to then get out of it. So, that one, it ended up where you were more annoyed than anything because you couldn't see where your feet were going. And you didn't want to trip and fall. So, the next one we went into was the Den of Darkness. I believe that's what it was called. And, it was so funny as I'm waiting there, okay, and, I just said, are you able to at least see the floor? And she's just like, oh, the darkness is part of your experience. Now, obviously, she's saying this as, darkness is part, you know, that whole thing. And I was like, yeah, I just don't want to trip and fall. That's my only thing. I don't want to trip and fall. And she was like, that's part of the experience. And I was like, what? And she's, tripping and falling? She goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, then I'll push you and see how you like it. And that's just part of your experience. And she was like, oh, we got a smart aleck in our hand. Do you want an award for that? I was like, do you have one? I'd really like one. No? Damn. Some of the banter is just awesome. So we start going through, and the floor's shaking a bit. Mom doesn't care for the floor shaking. But then the roof started going like this. So I was just like, well, just go to the part that is not sinking, you know, so you could stand up. Then you were going through, and it wasn't as bad as a closed space kind of thing. But it's a little bit more well-lit than what we have been. And, there wasn't a whole lot scary in there. You had the occasional jump scare, but that's about it. We also had, this room that looked like there was just, you know, the foosball tables? It looked like somebody enlarged that, turned them upside down, and put a sheet over their head. Because they were like, and with the music they played, I was just like, do you want to dance? Do you want to dance? I know you want to dance. How about you back there with the sheet? You want to dance? No? Okay. And then you went through this thing that looked like the 1950s. 40s, 50-ish. With the masquerade ball kind of thing going on. And I'm like, there's only one person in here, and she looks beautiful. She doesn't look dangerous. Okay. I was like, I could dig it. So then we go, and this guy jumps out. I really wasn't paying too much of attention, but he did say you had to go into the fireplace to get out. And Mom's like, is there another way out? And he just stood there. I was like, guess not. And so she's like, Christy, you go first. I'm like, fine. So I go, and I'm like, is it going to light up when I go in there? Because it's dark in there. And I realized that the ceiling was like, and I'm like, oh, this isn't bend over and go through. This is get on your knees and start crawling. So I did. I mean, what are you going to do? Go backwards? And it was like going through an attic. When you first started going in, it looked like you were going in a fireplace, but then it ended kind of like in an attic. So when you got there, there was a mannequin. I was like, okay, I think I'm a mannequin. I think this is a mannequin. Are you a mannequin? It had no head, so I was like, I'm pretty sure you're not an actor. You're a mannequin. So as I'm going over, like, I'm just gonna be getting a little frisky with just a little bit. I don't mean to. I'm sorry. The other one was a male, and I actually was like, are you real? Are you real? No? Okay. Because I'm going to be getting over you. And it's going to look like I'm about to you. And it looks like I'm fondling you. And I'm not. I'm just trying to get over your body because there's no other way around this. So I finally did that. We got out. The rest of it was pretty okay. There was the one that was the butcher shop. And it is so funny because when the butcher tried scaring us, I'm just like, oh, okay, hi, how you doing? And he trying to scare the others with the chainsaw. I say, excuse me, could you at least move? You're blocking the exit. And I don't think he heard me because of the chainsaw noise, but I'm just like, okay, let's go. Yeah, and then after that, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to it. That one was pretty straightforward, actually. So, and I come out like, la, 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 la. And I'm sure they're like, what the... The last attraction that we went on, through, was the asylum. And it was so funny because some of the warnings were like, you know, if you're dizzy, motion sickness, you may want to come in. If you have a mental or physical illness, you may not want to come in. And I'm like, what kind of mental illness? And I'm always mentally ill. So we get in line, and as we're sitting there, well, not sitting, stood there, waiting for our turn, they were like, okay, you know, you can go in this line number 3, because you go in groups, or you can. And, there's people that came after, and I said, hey, can you go in front for us? Because we've been leading a lot. Like, people had to wait for us to get through so they could get through in our group. And I was like, I'm just kind of done with that. Could you just go? And they're like, oh, sure, but I got a party of 5. I'm like, that's fine. I'll go. Oh, my God. They made it the funniest thing ever. Because when you first went in, you did have 2 nurses kind of jump scare you. I'm just like, oh, hi, how you doing? And then there was this mannequin that was like, which... Thinking about it now, actually, it looked funny. And the first guy, looked like he was trying to box it. I'm like, no. And then I heard one of the actors like, keep an eye on this one. And I'm like, why? Okay. So we're going through it, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was well lit, so that was good. As we were going through it, I was waiting for the baby thing, because there was the thing my mom saw that a baby popped out of the floor. That would have been funny. That didn't happen. So we're going through it, and, one person, or to back a step a little bit, I did get one jump scare that kind of got me at the, Den of Darkness, and I was like, and like, thank you. But in the asylum, there was one person that I was kind of feeling a little irritated, and they just they jumped out and was yelling at me. I was like, ah, and they're like, oh, you're scary. And then they just went back, and I'm like, that's the funniest thing. Whether I'm actually scary or not, no part of the picture, say, I just like knowing it, say. So as you're going through, obviously there's like, they're jumping out. And then there's, this one room that, had like it's like worm, and it kind of was like, I guess, parasite, and I was like, or just giant penises from the ceiling. And then we had to walk over what felt like a waterbed for a little bit. I was like, why am I walking on a bed? Don't know. And then there was one, I don't know what possessed them to put this in here. there was a wall to wall, like, I'm trying to think of the best way. When you get a blow up obstacle course and you're stuck between the obstacle and the wall, you know how that kind of like, that is exactly what it felt like. Coming from both angles, and you had to push through it. And I couldn't help it. I made a vagina joke. I was like, I feel like I'm a penis going through a vagina right now. And I feel like this vagina is a virgin. Because it is tight. Now, during this whole thing, the guy in front, who's like, yeah, I'll eat, it's all good, was acting petrified of some of these things, laughing, but was petrified. And although it looked like the girlfriend was a little scared, it seemed like he was more scared than her. I couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, really? Oh my god, this is so funny. Excuse me. Whew. And then, but on the way out, they had a guy that was the chainsaw behind you, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm going. And then there's one at the bottom, towards the bottom of the ramp on the way out, and is that real or fake? I'm just like, it's fake. Keep going. I'm like, okay. Overall, I don't really think, like, I'm a scaredy cat. You put me in the right environment, I'm a scaredy cat. This is real. There was some jump scares that came out, because it made things kind of worse. The only thing that I felt was actually worth it was the hayride. Ironic. So, that's kind of my review of it. Was it entertaining? Yeah, I could find it entertaining. Is it, like, super duper scary? Depends. This one's more your definition of scary. So, but if you like this video and want to see other videos, definitely hit the like down below. Definitely also go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well, because the more you subscribe, the more videos you get. So, hit the subscribe button, like and comment below, and also don't forget to hit the hell out of that little bell, because anytime that I go live or anything, update a video, you'll get notified of it. So, hopefully I'll be able to see you guys later. Have a great day, guys. Say.